let's get right into, some meat and potatoes. You're releasing
Oh
an
yeah.
album, Graveside Grin, March 15th. How'd this
Yep.
all come
That
about?
next week already? No, 2 weeks. Cool. Yeah, 2 weeks.
No, wait, isn't that next week?
Is it next week?
That
It's next Friday.
Next Friday.
yeah.
And by the
Fuck
time
yeah.
this comes out, which will be on Monday, that is this Friday.
Yep.
Sick.
Everybody out there
Okay.
listening, make sure you check out their new album. So how did this album come about? Where did you record it? How was it a departure from your other projects and other EPs and albums that you had out already?
Hell yeah. Yep. Basically, for us, this LP marks like a lot of big changes for the band. All some bad, some good, some bad that turned into good. So but all that to be said was basically coming out of COVID, um, we were just looking at like what we wanted to do, like how do we want to stay active and keep this going while the world is going crazy. Like how can we come out of this stronger? That was our basically like our goal. We didn't want to sit back on our asses. We were like, all right, let's utilize this time as much as we can. So I go back to bring up that only to say during that time we were like, what might be really good for us is bringing on a second guitarist. We can beef up our sound. We can bring in more leads. Zach, who does some of the clean singing and also plays guitar, it would afford him an opportunity to probably do more of the clean vocals. So we're like, let's bring a fifth member on and see if we can just really beef up our sound like in those kind of two ways. Um, so brought in a longtime friend of ours. His name's Greg. We've known him for many years prior, just through being friends with him. Him being we're us being a fan of his previous bands, him being a fan of our previous bands, just a lot of scene crossover and shit like that. So when we were like thinking about who it would be, it was very quick. We know who we're gonna ask first. So at the time, he was still living in Colorado, so we knew it would be like a big ask, and we asked him, and he was super hyped about it. He literally moved back um, to Boston, and we started like hitting the ground running, like super hard with the writing, basically. And that all basically leads us into like why this time we have a full length offering versus all our releases prior were um just basically EPs, 5 to 6 songs with some interludes on there. That was literally just a matter of where we were at our capability wise, writing style wise, everything. So I just want to give that pre-context to be like adding Greg into the fold as having a lead guitarist just rocketed us to like a whole new level in terms of like the amount of writing we were doing, the amount of songs we're pouring out, what we were doing with the songs, like how we were amplifying our sound. And that's basically how we got to Graveside Grin. When I say like some of like there was some unfortunate stuff along the way that got us there was uh I guess 20 yeah, at the end of 2022, or I guess it was the beginning of 2023 when we started or shit. I know so much time goes by with the albums from when you record them to when they actually come out. Um, I guess it was the end of 2022. We found out that the practice space that we've had for the last 10 plus years was going to be getting knocked down. So we just got put in this really weird place where we had a recording date on the books. We needed to finish all the stuff that we had, and then we found out we're going to be losing our space. So it was like a really shitty time in regards to like, okay, now we're in a crunch time and we need to get stuff done and we don't know where we're going to go. But it's like one of those things where like when the fire's there and the expectation's hot, like that's sort of like, when the best shit comes out. So it was like one of those things where we're stressed, but we all stayed like focused and on the ball with it. And I feel like it ended up like just sort of like all that emotion and everything that we're dealing with got poured into the music, and it just made for like ultimately like an even better record. So yeah, that's how we got that's a long-winded way to tell you how we ended up with finally bringing a full length into the mix.
Where did you record it? Who did you record it with?
Um, we recorded with this dude who we recorded all our albums except the first demo with. His name's Chris Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
He plays in a local band, or he played for a long time in a local band that we're all favorites of. They were called Riff Cannon, which then turned into Summoner. But he also plays in Doom Riders, and I don't know if you know that band, Death Heaven.
I do not. No.
Oh, okay, yeah, he's like it's like this. They're huge, like touring black metal band. But he's in that band. He's one of our good friends. He's recorded all our stuff. We recorded with him, and we recorded at this place called New Alliance in Brighton, Massachusetts. It's kind of like a legendary spot for Boston anyway. A lot of Converge recorded there, even though they have God City, like back in the day before God City was a thing. They've recorded at New Alliance. It's a spot that probably most Boston heavy acts have gone through at one point in time.
What do you think makes it such a good spot for what you guys do?
It's
Was this the same spot that's in your documentary, your 4-part documentary?
No, the part that's in the spot that's in the documentary is actually I believe it's two spaces. The first space being Mad Oak Studios in Alston. Dude, the hell yeah with the balloons. That was a sick fucking
I know, I
party.
saw that, yeah. So
Um,
weird.
the first space was called Mad Oak Studios, which is in Alston, which was very close. We were all kind of living like very close to that area at that time when we recorded it. And then the other space is actually God City.
Okay.
Like that is actually at the God City in Salem. That's where we did our Lonesome, Ornery, and Evil. Um, what makes the New Alliance space so special? We're not really sure in regard other than just its history, I guess that what would be just the fact that so many bands have gone through there. And I don't know if that's probably one part. There's not a lot of places that you can go to record for decent prices in Boston. There's Berkeley and stuff like that, obviously, but that's a lot. There's a lot of money trying to do that. So it's an affordable place for punk and metal and shit like that can actually, afford the studio rates there. They're not like absolutely outlandish. And I mean, the building itself has gone through. It's been at different places. It had a location in Somerville. It had a location in Cambridge or some shit like that. So it's more so the namesake that I feel like is what makes it what it is, more than the actual space itself. It was fine.
Well, you guys get some awesome sounds out of there, so
Oh yeah, definitely, and that's a big part of Chris, our engineer. Like I said, he's done like everything except the demo with us, so he knows us as not only just as people and friends, but definitely at this point has a very keen idea of what we're going for. So he's a good person to work with in terms of like he already knows where our mind is at with things, so he's working with all that knowledge going into it, which is just it's great when your producer engineer is your friend and also a fan. It makes a huge difference.
absolutely.